the technology side. So basically microservices are very much required, and there is a future of the software development, and everybody knows that the people who are already very well experienced in the technology side, they know that what is the actually the challenges is, right, in current architecture and deployment development like that. So that is the basically, and apart from that, how the microservices is really can help it to the people is for a future development as far in the career growth. That is we will basically going to discuss is all about.
Okay.
Yeah. So can you just make it there's on mute your side? There is some background noise. I'm just listening.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So basically, the agenda is for the concept of a microservices. What are the basic concepts of a microservices? Advantages of a microservices over the monolithic applications. Spring Cloud tools. How we will get that support from the Spring libraries, basically for that supporting to this cloud, you can say, through a cloud tools like that. And then we will also discuss about the Ashish Academy roles and how we can help it to you in the career development, and for also for microservice architecture. Okay, so that is basically this it is all about. And another thing is that I am having a more than 15 years of experience in IT technology development and majorly training. So basically, majorly experience in the banking and oil and gas domain, especially for technology development and the solutioning side. So that is all about me. So now we will just going and shifting into a basically the concept and why we are everybody is looking for a microservices. So microservices and everybody is talking about the microservices. So basically it is, we just understand the problems first and why we are looking for a microservices and what are the major challenges in the monolithic application. Then immediately everybody can understand that it is a really and how we can solve the problem through a microservices. So in monolithic application in day-to-day basis, in through our, you can say, engineering side, we have seen that, or we have read it through SDFC life cycles and SDLC life cycles. Then we have just design, analysis, then design, then development, coding, testing. This is a basically flow we follow through either through a waterfall model or different you can say project management strategies, or maybe also you can say through agile. So apart from that, when we talk about particular applications, so as far as technically, when we think about the technical aspects of the application, so there is in design, there is so many things came into a picture: high level design, low level design. There is also different patterns for deployment patterns, packaging patterns, also you can say architectural patterns also when we talk about the deployment patterns like that. So also there is a how we can structure our application, right? So how we are structured applications means people choose the technology basically as per their own needs, also as per the application needs. So sometimes people choose that for some of the UI layer into a different technology, you can say either for using through MVC patterns, either for maybe a .NET technologies or other JavaScript frameworks, and backend people choose that either server-side technologies. Like some of the people choose that Node.js or something like that. So it depends which technology it is we are really comfortable with. Some of the people are thinking tools like ESB was very much popular in few some days. Still ESB is very much popular for just making you can say pluggable components like that. So you can easily make the connectors and like that. So but when that is basically all about that architecture, right? But when we talk about and the packaging, basically majorly people, we do that entire our Java based application packaging into an EAR, enterprise you can say archives. So basically when we talk about the EAR, so we keep all the vars as well as the jars, third party jars, utility jars, and all our code development jars inside it. And generally we keep all the, you can say, MVC or UI layer web component we put into a var, and then we make a separate folder structure like that, and we package our applications. And when we go for a deployment, then we use that different distributed architecture, then failover mechanism for how we can make that application so that fail safe, and so that it will not be making any problem when there is any problem comes, so that how we will use that nodes for a deployment, and how you can manage the transaction and other things when we talk about you can say distributed deployment. So these are basically the very high level things, and everybody is thinking when you go with any client or maybe for your own application. So these are major points, and apart from that also you need to think about authentication, securities. These are also major aspect. So these are basically things which we really discuss about the microservices, but oh sorry, the monolithic application. But when we talk about, so what are the challenges here? Challenges is that uh, in day-to-day basis development, let's say if multiple developers are working on your team and everybody is just working on that share code, and they are setting, first thing is the setting up the particular this big application onto a local box, it is a challenge. So, and when you are doing a challenge, then code development, deployment, and testing still takes too much time, because if you will do a single two line of change, you need to do a testing, or you need to do a then deployment, and then complete JUnit testing is definitely follow, but generally hardly this 30-40% people will follow a JUnit testing, and they really make sure that this application will work uh, correctly with this JUnit testing. So the QA environment testing, or maybe your dev environment deployment is also sometimes challenging, because everybody is doing work on the same code base and they are just doing a check-ins, and then sometimes there is a problem for, you can say, there is a code overwrite, or maybe some other utility or compilation errors. So these are general challenges when we multiple people are working on the same code, and deployment challenges. Then there is a properties we use in big applications. There are some third-party jars or utility or maybe frameworks also use some of the properties from configurations. If you will some of the configuration, then you will face some major deployment challenges. So development deployment is still a challenge when we talk about this monolithic applications, right? Apart from that, packaging. So if you have that much heavy packaging, that so then also you need to think about from the multiple angles, right? So from the UI side, then you also need to think about the connector database sides and all the things you need to think about it. So these are major challenges in terms of designing, packaging, development, and other side definitely is for, we will also talk about that deployment as well as this distributed tracing or distributed deployment as well. So rather than to going with this, we can architecture or maybe just segregate our code onto an small modules and components, and these each components are completely segregated from each other, and they can communicate with each other. So in that case, let's say if you have any banking applications or where you have that multiple modules like a banking branch, customer setup, account setup, maybe transactions, reconciliations, you can make each particular component or each business use case, a business layer into a separate, basically a microservice. And then this particular component will be completely separately developed, separately deployed, separately monitored, and it will be separately checked in into your any other SVN or code base, and then it will be separately tracked and then maintained. So that in that case, basically there will not be any major dependencies on the other people, and it will not making, so you will have also choice to choose your own technology, where if you are not familiar or if you are not comfortable with particular certain technology, if you wanted to some integrate or use some other third-party jars or any other particular framework, so that is also you can easily, it will not make any impact on other modules and other side. And this is a very simple, so when the people work on that their own modules, so it will not make or hamper onto other development basically. So easily, and you can easily track and you can optimize the resource, you can easily check that particular you can say development efficiencies tracking, and you can save so much time for in this particular deployment. Apart from that, nowadays everybody is talking about the cloud-based architecture, and these microservices are very much supporting to a cloud-based architecture. When we talk about cloud-based architecture, so basically in few years we are just heard about the clouds and this architecture. Basically they provide as a platform, as an infrastructure, software as a, sorry, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and software as a service. So basically they, like if you talk about AWS, if you're talking about Cloud Foundry, if you're talking about Microsoft Azure, so they provide this kind of a facilities so that even you don't need to think about your hardware infrastructure tools, or maybe as well as the softwares like that. You can just easily, you can just move your application directly into a cloud environment. So microservice architecture is very much supportive to cloud-based architecture basically. So these are basically major advantages when we talk about microservices. And also we will see how, as we are just talking about here, Spring Boots and Spring, basically Java based support for the microservice architecture. So we will see how Spring tools are basically supporting to a microservice architecture. But before that, we will see that these are major advantages which we already talk about. There is a simplicity. So easily you can develop a simple code and maintain separately, and it will not make much more dependencies on others. Scalability point of view, as we know that there is a horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Here in microservices, definitely we have options for scaling in monolithic applications as well. But when we talk about microservices, so you can easily scale as per your own need. Let's say if you have that particular scaling requirement for transaction services where you feel that there is a major loads are coming, so you can easily scale on that service only. And so it depends on, so you can optimize your resource utilization also, right? Continuous delivery, definitely we use that Jenkins pipelines or other thing. Nowadays DevOps came into a picture, and then DevOps, so they provide some certain tools and technologies. So it is very much supportive by the, you can say, Docker and Kubernetes, and it is integrated with directly with our cloud. So that is completely and automated. Freedom to choose a different programming language. So definitely, as we already discussed, that freedom to choose a different programming language here. So in that case, if you are, let's say, some certain requirement for choosing a Java, certain places you need a Node.js, certain place you need some other technology, Python or other. So depends on your technology, you can develop and you can choose it. And anyway, these services are can communicate through a messaging or maybe through this HTTP or REST calls. Then we can define it how you wanted to communicate with these services basically. So low impact on other services, that is basically because the each component and the module is separately developed, and this basically communicating with each other. So there is a no much more dependencies on the others, and then you can easily track and debug also. So it is not like you, for a single line of a code or for one module, you need to debug the entire application like that. You can easily find out, yes, this is the particular code, and this is a code is, we have already segregated a code. We can easily find out, okay, this is the place where we can we need to fix it up, and there we found out some of the issues, either is a runtime or compile time or any other business use case failure. So this is basically a Spring Cloud, which we are talking about. So Spring Cloud, so Spring Cloud provides tools which is basically supporting to these cloud-based applications, right? So here in default, basically if you will use for some of the development front, we can use the Netflix for, you can say, understanding purpose how the Spring Cloud tools works for that. And when you are going for your enterprise application deployment, if you will go for a Cloud Foundry, Azure, or maybe AWS, so based on that you can choose the tools like that. So as we already know that that is some certain points we discussed, that when we develop an application or maybe make live into production. So basically in the security point of view, we have a support for API gateway. That is where we can use that Zool, which is basically providing a proxy and is for making as a single entry point for all the applications. Breaker dashboard. So basically if you are breaker dashboard, and the breaker circuit breaker concept is basically provided is for just if you are any particular service is not up and running, how you can track it and how you can check it that liveliness for that service, and how you can go with the fallback path. So that is the basically, because if there is a one use case, if your request is going through a multiple services, in that case, if one services goes down, then that particular entire flow or all the services subsequent calls will not happen. So you need to think about for that breaker concept so that you can use it. Majorly Spring Cloud and supporting through, or you can providing that Hastix is basically supporting for that Netflix. But if you are using what other cloud tools, so you can choose that your particular tools as per your own cloud. Configuration dashboard is basically in our monolithic application, we segregate our configuration, either database properties, other properties which we don't want it to hard code it, so we moved into either in the properties files or maybe either into XML or into a database. So we get these properties from there, and then we use these property values into our code. So in that case, here we have a facility, we can completely segregate our properties from the code, and we move directly into an other configuration server, and we can specify the property name with the certain, you can say, naming parameter or naming conventions, where you can specify different environment also for one service. So let's say if you have more than 50-60 services, and each service will have for development, QA, UAT, production properties, so you can specify that properties for one service like that, and you can separately maintain these properties there. So these are basically support from their distributed tracing. As we know that there is a multiple, so once request for a particular business use case can go through a multiple services, so you need to also track that particular log. So basically Spring Sleuth is basically supporting for that, where you can have a UI facility, how you can track that log basically for a span ID and trace ID. Through that you can find out exactly the logs, and consolidated logs you can find out. Otherwise, in generally in our monolithic application, we download the logs through a putty for your Unix box, or maybe when you have any other local, then you will check it, then you will track how the flows are, if there is something missing. So these are basically, so log tracing is very much important for your debugging and your tracking the applications. So service registry is basically you can register your service, and then all other clients will just look for that particular server where you have registered the service and get that access. So you can also control the service access from the service registry. And also client side node balancing also you can use it when you are using that service registry. So basically there is a multiple support from the service registry side, and service registry also checks how many instances are basically live for that one particular services. Message broker is basically a concept when you wanted to go with the asynchronous processing or event-based processing. So maybe Apache Kafka or RabbitMQ can be used for that. So we have support for that also from the Spring Cloud tools as well. And database side, you can choose any database, either a NoSQL or SQL. It's up to you and as per the need. So these support and dependencies are also provided. So these tools are basically come in the form of basically that libraries, and we use that dependencies in our either in our configuration file in the pom.xml. We get it that and then use that for our integration and support. So that is the way. So we have solved many problems for security, right? Also for debugging and tracing, we have also for solve the problem for that configurations, breaker concept for, you can say, any other failure mechanism like that, or maybe this service registry, event-based messaging integrations, database like that. So these are, and when we integrate with any other cloud system, so you will get actually the real use of that is these tools, and you will understand, yes, this is the way we can really optimize. So everybody, all our major enterprises are they are moving their applications from their own environment to a cloud-based architecture. So these tools are very much useful when we are going or taking up your application into a cloud base. So that's why these are the support and the facilities from the microservice architecture. That's why it's a very much in demand in the companies, and they are looking for a highly the professionals, microservice professionals for development and deployment and tracking and other purpose. And because it's a very latest and hot cake in the market, so they are also paying these good jobs, and they are really high paying jobs, and offer a cross team coordinations. That is, we discuss minimum resource with reduced cost, so as we can also optimize our development cost and also resource hardware cost, also continuous delivery. That is, we already discussed all about it. So major observations are basically, till now we have seen that industry problems, software development problems, but when we talk about particular career development, so career development is basically apart from that COVID situation is still sometimes if you really wanted to apply into a good high paying jobs or good companies, so there is a interview preparation challenges. If you are really new to a microservice coding, or you wanted to just land up into a microservice world, so how you will start it, how you will get a support, how you will do the debugging testing, so these are a majorly challenge. And if you are already using a microservice somewhere, and if you wanted to help to a team or your company for architecture wise, or maybe for design point of view, so you can get a much more deep learning and designing and coding, so you can help to a team and company, and you are optimize your application basically. So we offer that solutions for mentorship. So we have expert team which is having a more than 15 16 year people who will help it to you for different angle, for either interview preparation, for skill, or maybe for attitude, how you should think and how you should apply, how you should prepare for that. For best e-learning content, we have prepared for basically from the multiple sources, some of their very renowned people who has written the books, and some of the practical experience like that. Real-time problem discussions, so we also take up that real-time problem discussions from the different people like that. So we also discuss the, even we also take it up the real-time problem discussion from that other social media requirements. Some of the people are sending the details like that, so that is also we revert it. And we have a job assistance also, where we have that separate vertical. It's your jobs is basically have tie-ups with multiple banking and IT companies, where we help them for people for a placement. So it is a completely a placement services. So we still have so many Java requirements for more than 6 year 8 year plus experience for PayPal and other. So it's for Chennai, Bangalore locations. So we get that these requirements. We also have a requirement for others technology also, but especially here we are talking about Java based. That's why we are just highlighting as for Java based only. So this is a Ashish Academy is profound technology training academy to help students to find out the best matching job in the dream companies. So we basically talk about the results. It's not like a content. So content, everybody can get it from everywhere, maybe from different sites provide the very free content, or maybe a very minimum cost content. So we are not talking about the content. We basically talk about the support and mentorship, where we can really help it to you to build your own career, and whatever problems you face is during this learning, we can help it to you to solve these problems basically. So that is all our goal. And when you will make it work parallelly and we can work each other, then definitely this goal will be achieved. So we offer that mentorship through a live session. So we provide that live mentorship weekly, placement supports, which we already discussed about through your jobs, that portal. E-learning, so one of the best e-learning we have created. Apart from that, we also conduct a test series like that. And basically it's just a one-time cost, so you can get a lifetime access and also unlimited support. So that is, we basically offer it so that it's really help it to you and it can help to people. So courses we offer, it's very simple courses, so that easily people can adopt it and it will not making it much more burden. So free course also we have for some of the topics where you can start and you can have a feel. Uh, then we have this support system concept with weekly support. This course is roughly basically with the cost of 25,000 rupees. We are just offering in 2,999 with this webinar offer. And we have a live mentorship, that is we already talk about. Instructor led training also we have launched it in the last month. Some of the people are not very much comfortable for self learning, so we offer that instructor led training. And then we also have a self-paced. If somebody is asking for, I just don't want it to go with the weekly support, so we also have an option for self-paced with the community support and the placement support, where we offer that basically particular type of community support. So we help and answer all the queries and concerns on the basically at the community level. So we have a Facebook community, blogs also on our site, so where we help that for community support and this. Hello. Yeah, Kaliraj, I guess there is a one more guy has joined here.
Yes, I see.
Okay, okay. So I'm done from my side. Do you have any question